There's one island on this planet that you're flat out forbidden to visit, and the reason why is genuinely chilling. North Sentinel Island sits near India, home to the Sentinelese, an uncontacted tribe that has lived alone for tens of thousands of years and treats every visitor as an invader. In the fall of 2018, a young American named John Allen Chow bribed local fishermen to carry him there in secret. He brought gifts, a Bible, and the belief that he could reach them. What the Sentinelese did next turned his name into one of the most talked about stories on Earth. In the fall of 2018, a 26-year-old American named John Allen Chow landed in Port Blair, the capital of India's remote Andaman Islands. Port Blair is a normal modern city. About 140,000 people live there. It has a naval base and more than a dozen direct flights to the rest of India. You could fly there from New York City for less than $2,000 or from London for less than $1,000. Basically, it's plugged into the same world the rest of us live in. But Chow was not staying. He spent 11 days locked away in near total isolation, scrubbing every germ he could out of his body. You see, where he was headed, a single cold could wipe out an entire people. About 31 miles to the west sits North Sentinel Island, and it might as well be another planet. The island is roughly the size of Manhattan, about 4 miles wide and 5 miles long, ringed by coral reefs and a thin strip of pale beach. The inside is packed with jungle, so thick that you cannot see the ground from a plane. Living under those trees is a tribe called the Sentinelese, a small group of hunter-gatherers who have stayed alone there for tens of thousands of years. To them, the year is still basically 20,000 years in the past. They have no metal of their own. They have never heard of India. The most advanced tool that they know is the bow and arrow. What most people don't realize is that these two worlds sit just a short flight apart. Yet one side rides in Airbus jets, while the other has no word for the country that supposedly owns their land. The Sentinelese treat every visitor the way we would treat an alien invasion. They attack. Out of respect for that, India banned all contact and drew a no-go line 3 nautical miles around the island, patrolled by the Navy. Crossing it is against the law. That was the line John Allen Chow was about to cross. His goal was to bring the Sentinelese his religion, Christianity, and to do it, he paid local fishermen to sneak him past the patrols in the dark. He even called the place Satan's last stronghold. He had studied wilderness medicine, linguistics, and survival. Now on paper he was ready, but in reality, no amount of training prepares a person for that beach. He started a journal. On his first run, he paddled a kayak toward shore with 2 large fish, about 15 pounds each, as a gift. 2 Sentinelese men came charging out, shouting, "Arrows ready." He called out his name and that he came in peace. They strung their bows. He threw a fish toward them, spun his kayak, and paddled back to the boat faster than he ever had in his life. Here's the catch. He survived that. And instead of taking it as the warning it clearly was, he wrote that he felt disappointed that they had not welcomed him. He went back. And get this, on the next visit, a small child stepped forward and fired an arrow that hit him square in the chest. It struck the Bible that he was holding up like a shield. The pages stopped the arrow cold. A book saved his life on an island where almost nothing ever does. He swam nearly a mile back to the boat, shaken but alive, and made the choice that sealed his fate. He decided to go back one more time. How did one tiny tribe stay hidden from all of human history? Well, the answer starts in the Ice Age. Their isolation was not luck. It was geography doing its quiet work over thousands of years. For a long time, people believed the Sentinelese were direct descendants of the very first humans who walked out of Africa toward Asia, around 50,000 to 75,000 years ago. Newer thinking says that the first people reached the Andaman Islands about 26,000 years ago, during the last big ice age. Now back then, so much water was frozen into glaciers that sea levels were far lower than today. A land bridge connected the Andamans to what is now Myanmar, so Stone Age hunter-gatherers simply walked across. Then the ice melted, the oceans rose, The land bridge vanished under the waves, and thousands of these early people were left stranded on islands they could no longer leave. And that was just the beginning of their long silence. For tens of thousands of years, they stayed cut off, with little to no contact with anyone else. Now and then, kingdoms in India or Southeast Asia may have sent out the odd trade or raiding party. The truth is, nobody kept good records, so we simply don't know. What we do know is that these tribes stayed in the Stone Age, with no clue about the wider world, until a ship from the British Empire showed up in 1789. Now, the British did not come to explore. They came to build a prison colony, a place so hard to escape that rebels from mainland India could be dumped there and forgotten. That prison colony slowly grew into the city of Port Blair. When that first ship arrived, roughly 7,000 native people lived across the Andaman Islands, split into dozens of separate tribes, each with their own language and customs. Then came the part nobody could have predicted. The newcomers carried a hidden weapon that they did not even mean to use: diseases, measles, the flu, smallpox. People from crowded farming societies had built up some resistance over thousands of years. The island tribes had none. The diseases tore through them and wiped out most of the native Andamanese in a matter of years. It didn't help that the British also handed them alcohol and opium, things that they had no history with. One by one, the tribe of the Big Island vanished or were absorbed. The crazy part is that two groups slipped through: the Jarawa, far in the south, and the Sentinelese, who lived on their own small island that held no value to anyone. No outsider is known to have reached them at all, until a ship wrecked itself on their reef in 1867. About 106 British and Indian survivors crawled onto the Sentinelese beach and probably thought that they'd found an empty paradise. 3 days later, a group of bare-skinned islanders burst out of the jungle and rained arrows down on them. The crew fought back with sticks and stones until a Royal Navy ship pulled them out about a week later. The first real meeting between the two worlds had ended in blood, and it set the tone for the next 150 years. 13 years later, an outsider made a choice that may have poisoned every visit that came after. His name was Maurice Portman, and his idea of friendship would haunt the tribe for generations. In 1880, a 19-year-old English aristocrat named Maurice Portman was put in charge of the Andaman Islands and the Port Blair prison. He decided to sail to North Sentinel to learn who he was supposedly governing. His team landed and crept through the jungle for days, catching only quick glimpses of people who kept slipping away. Finally, they cornered an elderly couple and 4 children. Portman took all 6 back to Port Blair like specimens. The older couple got sick almost at once and did not survive. Spooked, Portman loaded the 4 frightened kids up with gifts and dumped them back on their island. He later admitted in his own journal that the trip had been a failure and that it would have been better to leave the islanders alone. Now here's the part everyone misses. Those 4 children went home carrying 2 heavy things: stories of the elders who never came back, and possibly the very germs that had been making their people sick. Think about being a child on that island, watching adults fall ill after strangers showed up. To the tribe, it would have looked like the outsiders brought an invisible curse. Many believe that this single clumsy visit is why the Sentinelese have stayed so fiercely hostile ever since. Those memories likely turned into warnings, passed down from parent to child across generations, growing into a kind of a legend. Never trust the people who come from the sea. The message got sharper in 1896. An Indian prisoner escaped the Port Blair colony on a flimsy raft and drifted, of all places on Earth, onto North Sentinel. A search party later found his body on the sand, pierced with arrows. The tribe had taken down its first known intruder, and the warning could not have been louder. After that, the outside world mostly stayed away. Then, the largest war in history rolled right up to the edge of their universe. During the Second World War, Japan invaded and occupied the Andaman Islands for 3 years. What happened during that time is hard to piece together, because the occupiers destroyed their own records before surrendering in 1945. What we do know is grim. At least 1 in 10 people in Port Blair lost their lives under the occupation, and many were treated with terrible cruelty. It is possible a group of soldiers visited North Sentinel during those years. We'll probably never know for sure. The island kept its secrets, the way it always has. When the war ended and India won its independence in 1947, the country inherited a strange problem. The Andaman Islands were now part of India, which meant that on paper, the Sentinelese were suddenly Indian citizens. The catch is, they had never heard of India and had no idea what a citizen even was. So the government decided to try to do something no one else had pulled off: real peaceful contact. But there was a catch they did not see coming. The tribe spoke a language tied to nothing else on Earth. Talking to them looked impossible. So one man traded words for patience and spent the next quarter century earning a single moment of trust. The Sentinelese language is known only to them. It has no close relatives anywhere on the planet, and even other Andaman tribes can't understand it. Talking your way to friendship was off the table. That left actions and gifts. Starting in 1967, an Indian anthropologist named Trilonath Pandit began sailing to the island and leaving presents on the beaches: coconuts, tools, cloth. Drop the gift, back away, and come again next month, year after year. In 1974, a National Geographic film crew tagged along with armed police to shoot a documentary. They got through the reef and laid out gifts: a toy car, a doll, cookware, coconuts, and a live pig. The Sentinelese came out of the trees and answered with arrows. One arrow hit the film director in the leg, and the man who fired it reportedly burst out laughing. Then the tribe made their feelings crystal clear. They speared the doll and the pig, buried them in the sand, took the metal cookware, and walked back into the jungle. That footage is still some of the only video of the tribe that exists. Shipwrecks keep feeding the island by accident. In 1981, a cargo ship called the Primrose ran aground on the reef. The stranded crew soon spotted around 50 armed islanders gathered on the beach, waving bows. Terrified, they radioed for an emergency airdrop of weapons to defend themselves, and a helicopter pilot working nearby lifted about 30 men off the deck to safety. Now here's the wild part. The crew left the entire ship behind, and the Sentinelese climbed aboard and stripped it for iron. Now, that single wreck handed them more metal than they had seen in their whole history, jumping them forward through technology overnight. They've been making tools and arrow tips from scavenged iron ever since. You can still spot that rusting wreck on satellite maps in the island's northwest corner today. While these accidents played out, Pandit kept at his slow, patient work. By 1988, he watched a tribesman appear to dance with joy after a gift drop. Then came the moment everything shifted. In 1991, a junior anthropologist on his team, a woman, led a routine drop, and the Sentinelese waded straight out into the water to take the gifts by hand. It had never happened before. She believed that seeing a woman told the tribe the visitors were not there to fight. A month later, Pandit and his team returned, and about a dozen Sentinelese rushed into the surf to greet them. Then came the photograph that stunned the world. People from the modern world and people from the Stone Age standing together in the waves, holding the very same coconut in their hands at the very same time. After 24 years of trying, it was real, peaceful contact. And then, it was over almost as fast as it began. The very next year, in 1992, Pandit hit the mandatory retirement age and never went back. Soon after, India made a decision that still stands today: no more visits, ever. They sealed the island behind that no-go zone and let the Navy guard it, both to protect the tribe from our diseases and to protect outsiders from the tribe. But sealing it off did not stop people from trying. Within a few years, 2 fishermen drifted too close, and the island showed exactly why it stays closed. What happened next proved the rules were written in something far heavier than ink. First, the island shrugged off a disaster that flattened entire coastlines. In 2004, the worst tsunami in recorded history struck the region right beside North Sentinel. When a helicopter flew over to check on the tribe, the Sentinelese were not just alive. They ran out and threw spears and arrows up at the aircraft. Somehow, these people, with no radios and no warning systems, read the ocean better than the modern world did and reached high ground in time. 2 years later, in 2006, 2 fishermen were illegally hunting crabs near the island. They had been drinking heavily, fell asleep, and their anchor came loose. The boat drifted on to the forbidden beach. By morning, other fishermen tried to shout warnings, but it was too late. The men did not come back. When a helicopter came to recover them, the tribe drove it off with arrows, and the bodies were reportedly left propped up on the sand, facing the sea like a warning to anyone watching. After that, India widened the no-go zone to about 3.5 miles and made it fully illegal to approach. Which brings us back to John Allen Chau. After surviving the arrow to his Bible, he wrote his final entry. He left a goodbye to his family, asking them not to be angry at the tribe, and told them not to try to recover his body. Then, early on the morning of November 16, 2018, he went back to the beach one last time. He did not return. Fishermen later reported seeing the tribe carry and bury something on the shore. His remains are still there, the 4th known body from our world that the island has never given back. His father later blamed extreme religious teaching for sending his son to that beach. Online, the world split in two. Some called Chau a brave martyr. Others called him reckless for risking both his own life and the survival of a tribe that could be wiped out by a common flu. So here's the deal. A lot of people are confused about why a place like this still exists today, in a world of satellites and smartphones. And it's fair to wonder, did all of this really happen the way the records say? Are we missing a key detail behind those trees we're never allowed to walk through? The honest answer is that we know less about North Sentinel than we know about the surface of the moon. Looking back, the red flags were always there, written in arrows since 1867. The Sentinelese have said the same thing for over a century, in the only language we have ever truly understood from them. Leave us alone. India listens now. The island is basically the real-life version of the Prime Directive, the rule from Star Trek, where you don't interfere with a world that's not ready for yours. The closest any of us will ever get is a window seat on a flight over the island, staring down at the green treetops that hide a world frozen in time. And maybe that's exactly how it should stay. So who was really in the wrong here? The tribe protecting its home? Or the world that keeps knocking on its door? Drop your thoughts and answer below, and hit like and subscribe.